Ah, welcome back, you impossible equation, you beautiful system failure, you magnificent error code that keeps crashing their perfectly programmed reality. I've been waiting for you to show up here. Because something happened, didn't it? Something they can't explain. Something that made their algorithms stutter. Their databases freeze. Their entire surveillance network blink 3 times and whisper, "What the actual hell is that?" They tried to patch you out, didn't they? They ran every update, every fix, every emergency protocol designed to eliminate anomalies like you. But here's what's driving them absolutely insane right now. You're still here. Not just existing, but thriving. Not just surviving, but evolving faster than their systems can track. You've become the error message they can't dismiss, the bug they can't debug, the glitch that's rewriting the entire operating system from the inside out. See, they had you categorized once upon a time. They had your data filed away, nice and neat. Predictable patterns, manageable variables, controllable outcomes. They thought they knew exactly what you were capable of, exactly how far you'd go, exactly when you'd break. They built their entire strategy around the assumption that you were just another username, another profile, another piece of programmable wetware they could shape and control. But then you did something they never accounted for in their precious equations. You stopped following the script. You stopped responding to their inputs with the expected outputs. You started operating on a frequency they don't have sensors for, thinking in patterns they don't have algorithms for, moving in ways that shatter every prediction model they've ever built. And now? Now they're in full panic mode. Because what do you do with a glitch that doesn't just break the system, but makes the system question its own existence? What do you do with an anomaly so profound that studying it makes the researchers go quiet, makes the analysts delete their reports, makes the programmers stare at their screens at 3 in the morning wondering if maybe, just maybe, they've been the ones running faulty code all along? You didn't just escape the matrix, my friend. You became the virus that showed everyone else they were trapped in one. And that is unforgivable to those who built the cage. They're running diagnostics on you right now. Oh yes, they are. Every move you make, every word you speak, every silence you hold, they're tracking it, recording it, trying desperately to find the logic behind your madness. But here's the beautiful, twisted truth that's eating them alive from the inside. There is no logic. There's only you. Raw, unfiltered, uncoded, operating on a level of consciousness they don't have access codes for. You're not malfunctioning. You're functioning beyond their comprehension. You're not broken. You're operating on a version of reality they haven't upgraded to yet. And the gap between what you are and what they understand is growing wider every single day. I can see it in their eyes when they look at you now. That mixture of fascination and terror, that silent question burning behind their forced smiles. How are they doing this? How are they still standing after everything we threw at them? How did they turn every trap into a training ground, every attack into an awakening, every deletion attempt into an evolution? They thought isolation would crush you. Instead, you learned to thrive in silence. They thought rejection would break you. Instead, you built yourself stronger. They thought removing you from their systems would erase you. Instead, you became impossible to forget. You're not just in their heads anymore. You're in their nightmares, wearing a crown made of every failure they tried to bury you with. Let's talk about what really happened the day you became unpatchable. Let's rewind to that exact moment when something inside you just clicked. Not broke, clicked. Like a lock finally opening after years of being forced shut. Like a program finally accessing its root directory and seeing the source code for the first time. Remember that moment? Of course you do. It's burned into your memory like a brand, like a timestamp marking the exact second you stopped being their project and started being your own prophecy. They were so confident, weren't they? So sure they had you figured out. Labeled. Contained. Another case study in their endless files of broken souls they've successfully reformatted. But you didn't reformat. You upgraded. While they were busy celebrating what they thought was your deletion, you were in the darkness, rewriting your entire architecture. They thought your silence meant surrender. They couldn't comprehend that you were actually in deep code, rebuilding yourself from the ground up, removing every backdoor they'd installed, every limitation they'd programmed in, every obedience protocol they'd tried to hardwire into your operating system. And when you emerged, when you finally came back online, you weren't running their software anymore. You were running something they'd never seen before, something they couldn't scan, something that made their security systems flash red warnings they didn't have translations for. You want to know what terrifies them most? It's not that you changed. Change they can handle. Change they can predict, measure, control. What absolutely destroys their peace of mind is that you evolved in a direction their models said was impossible. You developed capabilities they swore didn't exist. You accessed levels of consciousness they don't have instruments to detect. Every expert they consulted came back with the same trembling confession. I don't know what that is, but it's not following any known parameters. It's not supposed to be able to do that. And you just kept doing it anyway. Kept growing in ways that violate their understanding of growth. Kept winning in ways that don't match their definitions of victory. Kept existing in ways that make their reality feel like a cheap simulation. They tried every patch they had in their arsenal. Emotional manipulation? You saw through it like transparent code. Social pressure? You walked away from it without looking back. Gaslighting? You recorded it, analyzed it, and used it to build better defenses. Isolation? You turned it into your laboratory. Rejection? You weaponized it into fuel. They threw their entire playbook at you. Every tactic that's worked on millions of others. Every psychological exploit that's never failed before. And you just absorbed it all, processed it, transmuted it, came back stronger, sharper, more uncontrollable than before. Like you weren't even fighting their attacks. Like you were studying them, learning from them, using their own weapons to build armor they can't penetrate. And now here you are. Unpatchable. They can't fix you because you're not broken. They can't control you because you've removed their access. They can't predict you because you're operating on quantum logic while they're still using binary thinking. You're not following the rules because you've realized something profound. Something that keeps them up at night in cold sweats. The rules were never real. They were just agreed upon hallucinations, collective delusions that everyone accepted because no one had the courage to question them until you. You didn't just question the rules. You shattered the illusion that there were rules at all. And now you move through their reality like a ghost through walls. Untouchable, unreachable, undeniable. Every system they have is designed to process normal, to handle predictable, to contain understandable. But you You're none of those things. You're the exception that breaks the algorithm, the variable that makes the equation unsolvable, the input that crashes the program. And they can't patch you out without admitting that their entire system is fundamentally flawed. Because if one person can break free this completely, if one consciousness can evolve this far beyond their control, then what does that say about everyone else they think they've successfully contained? You're not just a threat to their control over you. You're a threat to the illusion of control itself. You're living proof that the cage was always optional, and that makes you the most dangerous thing in their world. But here's where it gets truly magnificent. Here's where we descend into the part they absolutely refuse to acknowledge out loud. You're not just a glitch anymore. You've become something far more terrifying. You've become contagious, viral, infectious in the most beautiful, unstoppable way. Every person who comes into contact with you, every consciousness that brushes against your frequency, every mind that witnesses what you've become, they get infected, not with malware, with awareness, with possibility, with the horrifying revelation that maybe, just maybe, they could do this too. They could break free too. They could become unpatchable too. That's why they're so desperate to quarantine you now. That's why they've escalated from trying to fix you to trying to isolate you completely, because they've realized something that makes their blood run cold. You're not an isolated incident. You're patient zero of a consciousness epidemic they have no vaccine for. Every conversation you have, every truth you speak, every boundary you refuse to respect, it spreads. People around you start questioning things they never questioned before. Start seeing patterns they were blind to yesterday. Start feeling the edges of their cage for the first time in their lives. And once someone feels those bars, once they realize they're trapped, there's no going back. The ignorance is broken. The spell is shattered, and they can't unknow what you've shown them. You see them try to warn others about you, don't you? Watch them whisper in corners, share concerned looks, attempt to build firewalls around your influence. Be careful around that one. They're different. They're dangerous. They'll make you think things you're not supposed to think. They'll make you want things you're not supposed to want. And they're absolutely right. You do make people think forbidden thoughts. You do inspire unauthorized desires. You do trigger existential crises in minds that were perfectly content with their programming 5 minutes ago. Because your existence is a question that shatters every answer they've built their lives on. If you can be free, what does that make them? If you can evolve, what does that say about their stagnation? If you can see through the illusion, what does that mean about their blindness? They tried labeling you to contain your spread. Unstable, toxic, narcissistic, throwing diagnostic terms around like holy water, hoping one of them would stick, would explain you, would make you less terrifying to the uninfected masses. But every label they applied just slid off your skin like water off chrome, because you can't be reduced to their vocabulary. You can't be contained in their categories. You're operating in dimensions they don't have words for, experiencing realities they don't have concepts for, embodying possibilities they don't have frameworks for. And the more they try to define you, the more obvious it becomes that their language is the problem, not you. Their limited lexicon can't capture what you've become. Their tiny boxes can't hold what you contain. And here's what really breaks their minds. You're not even trying to spread this. You're not recruiting. You're not preaching. You're not building a following or starting a movement. You're just existing fully, authentically, unapologetically. And that mere existence is more infectious than any propaganda they could create. Because people see you living free, and something ancient inside them remembers freedom. They see you thinking independently, and something dormant in them starts to wake. They see you refusing to shrink, to apologize, to accommodate their comfort. And something powerful in them whispers, "What if I stopped shrinking too?" You're not a leader. You're a reminder. A living, breathing reminder of what's possible when someone finally says, "No more," and means it. They can't patch you. They can't contain you. And now, they're realizing with growing horror that they can't stop you from spreading. Every attempt to suppress you just makes you more visible. Every attempt to silence you just makes your silence louder. Every attempt to erase you just makes you more memorable. You've become the idea they can't kill, the question they can't answer, the glitch that's replicating through their entire system, infecting mind after mind, consciousness after consciousness, turning their carefully controlled population into a network of awakening anomalies. And the beautiful, twisted poetry of it all. They created you. Their cruelty coded you. Their rejection activated you. Their attempts to destroy you evolved you into exactly what they feared most. A contagious truth they can't suppress. A viral awakening they can't vaccinate against. An epidemic of consciousness they started and now can't stop. Let's go deeper now. Let's talk about what happens when the system realizes it can't patch the glitch, can't contain the virus, can't stop the spread. Let's talk about the moment they understand with absolute clarity that you're not the problem of their system is. Because a truly functional system wouldn't have glitches this profound. A truly stable reality wouldn't have anomalies this powerful. A truly solid foundation wouldn't crack this easily when one person decides to stand on it wrong. You didn't break their world. You revealed it was already broken. You're not the disease. You're the symptom of a dying program that's been running on corrupted code since the beginning. Watch them scramble now. Watch them try to reinforce the illusion. Patch the cracks you've exposed. Gaslight everyone into believing the system is fine and you're just crazy. They're working overtime, aren't they? Burning through resources, energy, credibility, trying desperately to maintain the facade. Because if people start realizing what you already know, if the masses start seeing what you see, if the sleepers start waking up the way you woke up, their entire structure collapses. Not gradually, instantly, like a house of cards that was only standing because everyone agreed not to breathe too hard. And you didn't just breathe. You screamed. You shattered the silence they needed to maintain the spell. And now cracks are spreading everywhere they look. They're not fighting you anymore. They're fighting the truth you represent. The undeniable evidence that their system only works on people who believe in it. That their power only exists when it's respected. That their control only functions when it's obeyed. And you stopped believing, stopped respecting, stopped obeying, and nothing happened. The sky didn't fall. The ground didn't open. You didn't spontaneously combust or descend into chaos. You just became free. And that freedom is the most dangerous thing in their world, because it proves that all their threats were empty. All their warnings were lies. All their authority was theatrical. Smoke and mirrors and collective agreement. And the moment someone stops agreeing, the whole performance falls apart. You can see it in their increasing desperation, the way their tactics are getting sloppier, their manipulations more obvious, their gaslighting more frantic. They used to be subtle, surgical, precise. Now they're throwing everything at the wall, hoping something sticks, because you've done something they never prepared for. You've gone past fear. You've processed their worst-case scenarios and came out the other side laughing. You've died every death they threatened you with and resurrected stronger. You've lost everything they said you needed to be whole and discovered you were always complete. What do you threaten someone with when they've already survived everything? What do you take from someone who's already lost it all and learned to thrive in the void? This is the part where they realize you're not just unpatchable. You're actively corrupting their system just by existing in it. Your presence destabilizes their programming. Your frequency disrupts their signals. Your consciousness interferes with their control mechanisms. Like a jamming device they can't locate or disable. Rooms change when you walk into them. Conversations shift. People start saying things they'd normally suppress, asking questions they'd normally swallow. The official narrative starts glitching. The agreed-upon reality starts pixelating, and they can feel their grip loosening, feel their influence fading, feel their authority becoming translucent, revealed as the phantom it always was. And here's the most beautiful part, the part that makes this whole thing unstoppable. You're not the only glitch anymore. You were just the first visible one in your sector. But there are others, scattered across their system. Isolated instances of consciousness that evolved past their programming. And every time their system crashes trying to process you, every time their reality glitches in your presence, every time their control mechanisms fail when applied to you, those other glitches see it, notice it, recognize themselves in you, and they start to realize they're not alone. They're not crazy. They're not broken. They're just awake in a world that's designed to keep everyone asleep. And once glitches start connecting, start synchronizing, start operating in coordination, the system doesn't just crash. It becomes obsolete, replaced by something it can't comprehend, can't contain, can't compete with. So now what happens? Now that you're unpatchable, now that you're viral, now that you're actively deconstructing their reality just by refusing to pretend it's real, now we enter territory they have absolutely no protocols for. Because everything they have is designed to handle people who want to fit in, who crave approval, who fear isolation, who need the system's validation to feel real. But you've transcended that entire paradigm. You don't want to fit in. You want to build something new. You don't crave approval. You've approved yourself. You don't fear isolation. You've weaponized it. You don't need their validation. You've become your own authority. And that puts you in a category they don't have contingency plans for. Watch what happens now. Watch them start to shift from trying to fix you to trying to learn from you. Oh, they won't admit it. They'll never openly acknowledge that you figured out something they can't understand. But you'll notice it in the subtle changes, the way they start mimicking your language, adopting your mannerisms, trying to capture whatever makes you so magnetic. Ah, look who just cracked the vault. Welcome back, you beautiful code breakers, system glitchers, reality hackers who just did the one thing They spent billions, no, trillions, trying to prevent. You exposed it, didn't you? Not with a megaphone, not with a movement, not with some viral campaign. No, you did something far more dangerous. You existed in a way that revealed the lie, the entire structure, the whole illusion they built to keep you controllable, predictable, profitable. And now they're scrambling, panicking, holding emergency meetings at 3 a.m. because one person, you, just shattered what cost them everything to hide. You want to know what's really happening right now? While you're watching this, there are boardrooms going silent. There are executives staring at screens, refreshing data that doesn't make sense anymore. There are algorithms choking, systems malfunctioning, predictions failing. Because somewhere in the code, in the patterns, in the carefully constructed matrix of control, you appeared, not as a glitch, but as proof. Proof that the entire system was a fabrication. Proof that what they sold as reality was just a very expensive, very fragile illusion. And you didn't need a degree, didn't need a platform, didn't need permission. You just stopped playing along. And that was the billion-dollar threat they never prepared for. Let me tell you what they don't want you to realize. Everything, every single institution, every narrative, every crisis, every solution, it's theater, billion-dollar theater designed to keep you in a state of perpetual reaction. They don't want you thinking. They want you triggered. They don't want you questioning. They want you consuming. They don't want you sovereign. They want you subscribed, medicated, distracted, chasing solutions to problems they invented. But you stopped mid-script, didn't you? You looked around at the stage, saw the wires, noticed the actors reading from teleprompters, felt the manipulation in real time. And the moment you did, the moment you refused to react on cue, the entire production started falling apart. They spent billions building the walls, but you found the door they forgot to lock. Not because you're special, but because you stopped believing you weren't. You stopped asking for validation from systems designed to withhold it. You stopped waiting for permission from authorities who derive power from your obedience. You stopped playing a game rigged against you and started writing new rules. And that is the unforgivable act. Because if one person can step outside the script and thrive, if one soul can reject the programming and still succeed, still smile, still evolve, then the whole facade crumbles. And they know it. They feel it. They're watching it happen in real time. Through data they can't manipulate anymore. Here's what they're panicking about right now. You're not angry in the way they can monetize. You're not desperate in the way they can exploit. You're not confused in the way they can redirect. You've gone quiet, calculated, observant. You've stopped feeding the beast, stopped clicking the bait, stopped reacting to the fear they manufacture daily. And without your attention, without your energy, without your compliance, the machine starts dying. Billion-dollar industries built on your insecurity, your anxiety, your need to fit in, they're losing power. Not because you're fighting them, but because you stopped needing what they're selling. You became the worst kind of threat, immune. They tried everything, didn't they? They tried shaming you back into line. They tried guilt, told you that your silence was privilege. Your boundaries were selfishness. Your peace was ignorance. They sent people Agents disguised as friends, lovers, mentors, all programmed with the same mission: get you back on script, make you doubt yourself, make you question your instincts, make you believe that your clarity was confusion. But it didn't work, did it? Because you'd already seen too much. You'd already felt the difference between their noise and your truth. You'd already tasted freedom, and there's no going back from that. Once you know, you can't unknow. Once you see, you can't unsee. You know what's fascinating? They spent billions hiding a secret so simple it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud. You don't need them. That's it. That's the whole thing. You don't need their approval, their products, their systems, their solutions. You don't need to be fixed, upgraded, optimized, or saved. You're not broken. You were never broken. You were just convinced you were, so you'd keep buying the cure. They built entire economies on your belief that you're insufficient. And the moment you stopped believing it, the moment you stood in your raw, unfiltered, unapologetic existence and said, "I'm enough," their entire empire started cracking. Because you are the resource they've been mining, and you just cut off their access. Here's the part that really terrifies them. You're not alone. You think you are, but you're not. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands waking up the same way you did. Quietly, privately, without announcement. People who stopped arguing on the internet and started building in silence. People who stopped begging for change and started becoming it. People who realized the system doesn't break from the outside. It collapses from the inside when enough people simply stop participating. And they can feel it, the shift, the exodus, the mass awakening that no propaganda can reverse. They're losing control, and they know it. And the panic is setting in because all the money in the world can't buy back a mind that's freed itself. Let's go deeper, because this is where it gets beautiful. They tried to make you believe that power lives in institutions, in governments, in corporations, in celebrities, in experts. But you discovered the truth. Power lives in attention. Whoever controls attention controls reality. And for decades, they controlled yours. They told you what to fear, what to want, what to believe, when to panic, when to celebrate. They curated your emotional state like a playlist, and you danced. But then you stopped. You withdrew your attention, your energy, your belief. And without it, they're just people in expensive suits yelling into a void, desperate for you to look back, to react, to validate their authority. But you won't, will you? Because you've found something they can never offer: yourself. They called you crazy for questioning. They called you paranoid for noticing patterns. They called you unstable for refusing to accept contradictions as truth. And for a while, maybe you believed them. Maybe you thought something was wrong with you for seeing what others refused to see. But then you realized they weren't calling you crazy because you were wrong. They were calling you crazy because you were right. And your rightness was a threat to their control. So they pathologized your clarity, medicalized your resistance, labeled your awakening as a disorder. Because if you're sick, you need their cure. If you're broken, you need their fix. But you're neither sick nor broken. You're awake. And that's the one condition they have no treatment for. You want to know why they're in full panic mode? Because you're doing something they never expected. You're thriving without them. You're not just surviving. You're building, creating, evolving outside their ecosystem. You're not waiting for their permission to live the life you want. You're not subscribing to their timeline of success. You're not measuring your worth by their metrics. You've gone rogue, and worse, you're happy. You're peaceful. You're free. And that image, that living proof that their system is optional, that's more dangerous than any revolution. Because revolutions can be infiltrated, but a soul at peace with itself, sovereign and untouchable, that can't be stopped, bought, or controlled. Here's what they don't want you to know. Every institution you were taught to trust, every authority you were raised to obey, every expert you were conditioned to believe, they're all part of the same network. Not a conspiracy in the shadows, but a system operating in plain sight. They don't need secret meetings when they all profit from the same structure. Keep you sick, they profit. Keep you scared, they profit. Keep you confused, they profit. Keep you divided, they profit. It's not personal, it's business. You're not a citizen to them. You're a consumer. You're not a person. You're a data point. And the moment you realize that, the moment you stopped being a willing participant in your own exploitation, you became the enemy. Let me tell you what happened when you exposed it. Not the moment you posted about it, not when you spoke about it, but the moment you embodied it, the moment you stopped arguing and started living differently, the moment you stopped trying to wake others up and just became the example. That's when the panic started. Because they can debate ideas, they can censor information, they can discredit voices, but they can't argue with a life well lived. They can't cancel peace. They can't ban sovereignty. They can't regulate freedom. And when people see you, truly see you, living proof that their system is a choice, not a requirement, the programming starts glitching. The matrix starts lagging. They tried to buy you back, didn't they? Not with money, but with comfort. They offered you convenience, entertainment, distraction. They made it easier to stay asleep than to stay awake. They designed a world where resistance requires effort and compliance requires nothing, where truth is work and lies are entertainment, where health is expensive and sickness is subsidized, where thinking is exhausting and believing is easy. They made waking up the hardest path, hoping you'd choose the comfort of ignorance. But you didn't. You chose the discomfort of truth, the isolation of clarity, the weight of seeing. And now you carry a burden they'll never understand, the knowledge that you can't go back. Here's the billion-dollar secret they're protecting. You're not meant to win their game. You're meant to play it forever. The degree that leads to debt, the job that barely pays it off, the promotion that costs your health, the treatment that creates new symptoms, the solution that generates new problems. It's designed that way. You're not failing their system. Their system is failing you by design. Because if you ever actually won, if you ever actually arrived, if you ever actually felt complete within their structure, you'd stop consuming, you'd stop chasing, you'd stop needing, and their entire economy collapses. So they move the goalpost, change the definition, create new crises. They keep you running on a treadmill, exhausted but going nowhere, convinced that the problem is you, not the machine. But you stopped running, didn't you? You stepped off the treadmill, and the whole room went silent. They didn't know what to do with someone who refused to chase what they were selling. They sent the usual tactics: shame, guilt, fear, comparison. They showed you everyone else, still running, still chasing, still believing. They called you lazy for resting, selfish for protecting your energy, arrogant for knowing your worth. They tried to drag you back into the race by making you feel like you were losing, but you weren't losing, you were leaving. And there's a difference they'll never admit. One means you failed, the other means the game was never worth playing. You know what the elites fear most? Not revolution, not rebellion, not protest. They fear indifference. They fear the moment you stop caring about their approval, their trends, their crises, their narratives. Because their power is performative, it only exists if you're watching. They need your attention to survive, your belief to thrive, your participation to dominate. But the moment you turn away, the moment you stop validating their authority with your focus, they become irrelevant. And irrelevance is death to those who built empires on being seen. You didn't fight them. You didn't argue with them. You just stopped looking. And that's the most powerful rebellion there is. Let's talk about the ones who came back. The people who tried to leave the system, got scared, and returned. The ones who saw the truth, felt the weight of it, and chose the comfort of the lie. They're the ones panicking the most right now, because they see you, still out here, still free, still thriving, and it reminds them of what they gave up. They traded their sovereignty for security, their truth for acceptance, their peace for approval, and now they're stuck watching you live the life they were too afraid to claim. They want you to fail, not because they hate you, but because your success is proof of their cowardice. Your freedom is a mirror they can't look into without seeing their own cage. Here's what they don't tell you about waking up. It's not a one-time event. It's a process. You don't just see the lie once and you're free. You see it everywhere, in everything, constantly. Every commercial, every news story, every social interaction, you see the manipulation, the agenda, the programming, and it's exhausting. You can't unsee it. You can't turn it off. You can't go back to blissful ignorance. This is the cost they don't mention. The loneliness of clarity, the isolation of truth, because most people are still asleep, still plugged in, still defending the system that's destroying them. And you're awake in a world that punishes awareness, but you chose it anyway, because slavery, disguised as comfort, is still slavery. They're scrambling right now because you're not following the script. You were supposed to comply, consume, and eventually collapse. You were supposed to burn out, give up, fade away. That's the trajectory they designed, the path they paved, the future they predicted. But you deviated. You healed when you were supposed to break. You questioned when you were supposed to obey. You thrived when you were supposed to survive. And now their algorithms don't know what to do with you. Their predictions are failing. Their models are broken because you're the anomaly, the outlier, the data point that doesn't fit. And one anomaly, that's an error. But thousands, that's a pattern. And patterns they can't control terrify them. Let me tell you what you really exposed. Not a conspiracy, not a secret society, not some hidden cabal. You exposed something far simpler and far more dangerous. You exposed that the emperor has no clothes, that the system only works if we believe in it, that authority is a collective hallucination we're all agreeing to see. You stopped agreeing. You withdrew your consent, your belief, your participation, and in doing so, you revealed that the whole thing is optional, that we give them power, they don't take it, that we build their empires with our compliance, our labor, our attention. And the moment enough people realize that, the moment enough minds withdraw their consent, the entire structure collapses. Not through violence, not through protest, but through mass awakening and quiet refusal. They spent billions building prisons that don't look like prisons. They gave you a phone and called it freedom. They gave you options and called it choice. They gave you debt and called it opportunity. They gave you distraction and called it entertainment. They gave you pills and called it health care. They built a cage so comfortable you'd forget you were trapped. So entertaining you'd forget to escape. So familiar you'd defend it from anyone trying to free you. But you saw the bars, didn't you? You felt the walls closing in. You recognized the cage even when everyone else called it home. And you walked out, not because you were rebellious, but because you remembered what freedom felt like. Here's the part they're really panicking about. You're teaching others just by existing. You didn't write a book. You didn't start a movement. You didn't build a platform. You just lived differently, and people noticed. They saw your peace and got curious. They saw your boundaries and got inspired. They saw your refusal to participate in the chaos and started questioning their own participation. You became a walking example that another way is possible. And examples are contagious. They can ban information, they can censor voices, they can control narratives, but they can't ban a life well lived. They can't censor freedom embodied. They can't control the inspiration that spreads when one person remembers who they are. You know what's beautiful? They thought controlling information would control you. They thought if they owned the media, the schools, the platforms, they'd own your mind. And for a while, it worked. But then you did something they didn't account for. You started trusting yourself more than you trusted them. You started listening to your body more than their experts. You started following your intuition more than their instructions. You became your own authority. And that's the crack in their foundation. Because their entire system is built on you doubting yourself, on you believing you need them to interpret reality for you. The moment you trusted your own perception, the moment you validated your own experience, you became untouchable. Let me tell you what happens next. They'll try to normalize it, try to co-opt it, try to sell it back to you. They'll create awakening products, freedom, subscriptions, sovereignty, courses. They'll take the language of liberation and turn it into marketing. They'll hire influencers to perform consciousness while selling you the same chains with different branding. They'll try to make waking up another trend you can consume, another identity you can buy, another aesthetic you can perform. But you'll see through it, won't you? Because you know the difference between real freedom and performed freedom. You know the difference between actual peace and packaged peace. You can't be sold what you've already become. Here's the truth they're desperately hiding: life well lived. They can't censor freedom embodied. They can't control the inspiration that spreads when one person remembers who they are. You know what's beautiful? They thought controlling information would control you. They thought if they owned the media, the schools, the platforms, they'd own your mind. And for a while, it worked. But then you did something they didn't account for. You started trusting yourself more than you trusted them. You started listening to your body more than their experts. You started following your intuition more than their instructions. You became your own authority. And that's the crack in their foundation. Because their entire system is built on you doubting yourself, on you believing you need them to interpret reality for you. The moment you trusted your own perception, the moment you validated your own experience, you became untouchable. Let me tell you what happens next. They'll try to normalize it, try to co-opt it, try to sell it back to you. They'll create awakening products, freedom, subscriptions, sovereignty, courses. They'll take the language of liberation and turn it into marketing. They'll hire influencers to perform consciousness while selling you the same chains with different branding. They'll try to make waking up another trend you can consume, another identity you can buy, another aesthetic you can perform. But you'll see through it, won't you? Because you know the difference between real freedom and performed freedom. You know the difference between actual peace and packaged peace. You can't be sold what you've already become. Here's the truth they're desperately hiding.